The wedding coordinator pulled me aside 20 minutes before the ceremony. Her face was pale, hands shaking. "Miss Anderson, we have a situation with the cake." I was in my wedding dress, hair perfect, makeup flawless, 200 guests waiting, my fiancé Jake in the groom's suite down the hall. "What kind of situation?" "Come with me, you need to see this." She led me to the reception hall, to the cake table, where my beautiful 5-tier wedding cake should have been. Instead, there was a cake, same size, same shape, but the decorations were different, wrong. I stepped closer, read the inscription, "Not Jake and Natalie forever." Divorce lawyers, 555-freedom. Below that, "She's not worth it, Jake." My hands clenched. What happened to my actual cake? "Your mother-in-law was here this morning. She said there was a mistake with the original order, that you'd requested a replacement. She had this one delivered." "I requested nothing. Where's the original cake?" "She said it was contaminated. Had it removed. This one arrived 30 minutes ago." I pulled out my phone, called the bakery. "This is Natalie Anderson. My wedding is today. Did my mother-in-law call about the cake?" "Yes. Mrs. Sullivan called this morning. Said the original cake had been exposed to cleaning chemicals, that you needed an emergency replacement. We rushed to make a new one based on her specifications." "What specifications?" "She sent us the design. The divorce lawyer inscription. Said it was an inside joke for the groom." I hung up, looked at the coordinator. "Get me the security footage from this morning, every camera angle of this room." "Miss Anderson, now. Please, before I walk down that aisle, I need to see exactly what my future mother-in-law did." 10 minutes later, I was in the venue manager's office, watching security footage from 6 a.m. The reception hall empty, dark. Then the door opened. Patricia Sullivan walked in, alone, carrying a small bottle. She approached my wedding cake, the real one, beautiful, perfect, everything I'd chosen. She opened the bottle, poured liquid over the top tier, then the second tier, then the third. The footage was silent, but I could read her lips as she looked at the cake and smiled. "Good luck eating this, darling." I kept watching. She left, came back an hour later with the bakery delivery, the divorce cake, had them set it up, remove the original. I called my maid of honor. "Get Jake, bring him to the manager's office. Tell him it's an emergency, but don't tell him what." 5 minutes later, Jake walked in, saw my face. "Nat, what's wrong?" I turned the monitor to face him, hit play. His mother, pouring something on our wedding cake, replacing it with a divorce cake, destroying what we'd planned. Jake's face went from confused to horrified. "That's not possible." "That's your mother, this morning, tampering with our wedding cake, then replacing it with one that has divorce lawyer information on it. There has to be an explanation." I hit pause, zoomed in. On the bottle in Patricia's hand, the label visible, Ipecac syrup, used to induce vomiting. "She poisoned our wedding cake, Jake, then replaced it with a cake telling you to divorce me. That's the explanation." He stared at the screen, at his mother's face, at the evidence, irrefutable, recorded, time-stamped. "What do you want to do?" I looked at the cake on the monitor, the one I'd chosen, the one that would have made 200 people violently ill. Then I looked at Jake, at the man I was supposed to marry in 15 minutes, at the man whose mother had just committed a crime to stop our wedding. "I want to show everyone exactly who your mother is, and then I want to call the police." "Nat, she poisoned food intended for 200 people. That's attempted mass poisoning. That's assault. That's criminal. And she did it to stop our wedding." Jake ran his hands through his hair, looked at the footage again, at his mother's face, at her smile. "Show them," he said quietly. "Show everyone. My mother doesn't get to do this and walk away. If you've ever had someone try to sabotage your wedding in the most dangerous way possible, stay with me until the end. Your support means everything to me. Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Would you have called the police or handled it privately? Let's talk about it." Now, back to my story. Let me explain how we got here. My name is Natalie Anderson. I'm 30 years old. I'm a pharmaceutical researcher in Austin, Texas. I work for a biotech company developing cancer treatments. Good salary, important work, challenging, and meaningful. I met Jake Sullivan 2 years ago at a medical conference. He's a physical therapist. We were on the same panel discussing patient rehabilitation strategies. He was intelligent, passionate about his work, easy to talk to. We had coffee after the panel, then dinner. Then we started dating long distance. He was in Austin. I was finishing a research stint in Houston. 6 months later, I moved to Austin. A year after that, he proposed. Jake came from a complicated family. His father had died when Jake was 15. Heart attack. Sudden. Devastating. His mother, Patricia, had raised Jake and his younger brother alone. Patricia was a nurse, retired now. She'd worked in hospitals for 30 years. ER, ICU, high-stress environments. She was tough, competent, used to being in control. Meeting Patricia should have been straightforward. 2 medical professionals, common ground, shared understanding. It wasn't. The first dinner was at her house in Westlake Hills. Nice neighborhood, modest house. Patricia answered the door in scrubs, still wearing them from a volunteer shift at a free clinic. "You must be Natalie, the researcher." She said researcher like it was a criticism. Dinner was tense. Patricia dominated conversation, talked about her years in emergency medicine, the lives she'd saved, the critical decisions she'd made. When I mentioned my cancer research, she said, "Lab work. Must be nice. Controlled environments. No real patients. No life or death pressure. We're developing treatments that save lives. Eventually. Maybe. If they make it through trials. I saved lives every shift. Immediately. Tangibly." Jake tried to redirect. "Mom, both types of medicine matter." "Of course, dear. I'm just saying there's a difference between theory and practice." Theory. As if my PhD and 5 years of research were theoretical. As if cancer treatments were abstract concepts instead of medication that actually worked. That set the pattern. Every interaction became a competition. Patricia positioning herself as the real medical professional. Me as the academic who didn't understand real medicine. At family gatherings, she'd introduce me as Jake's girlfriend who works in a lab. Not pharmaceutical researcher. Not scientist. Lab worker. When I published a paper in a major journal, Patricia said, "How nice. Academic publications. Not quite the same as actually helping patients, but still." When our research team made a breakthrough, Patricia said, "Let me know when it actually saves someone, then I'll be impressed." Jake defended me, sort of. "Mom, Natalie's work is important. Stop being dismissive." But he never addressed the core issue. His mother saw me as competition for his attention, his respect, his loyalty, and she was determined to win. The engagement made everything worse. Wedding planning became psychological warfare. Patricia inserted herself into every decision, not to help, to undermine, the venue. I wanted the Austin Botanical Gardens, outdoor, beautiful, meaningful to us. We'd had our first date walking through gardens. Patricia said, "Outdoor weddings are risky. Weather, insects, heat. A church would be more appropriate, more traditional." We're not church people. Jake was baptized. His father's funeral was in a church. Family tradition matters. We chose the gardens anyway. Patricia made sure everyone knew it was my choice. Natalie insisted, against my advice, "Let's hope it doesn't rain." The dress. I found one I loved. Simple. Elegant, modern. Patricia came to the appointment uninvited, saw the dress. It's very contemporary, not what I'd choose for my son's bride. "But it's your day." She said, "your day," like it was a consolation prize, like I'd won a minor battle but lost the war. The cake became the biggest fight. I wanted a classic wedding cake. 5 tiers, white buttercream, fresh flowers, simple elegance. Patricia suggested a different bakery. They did Jake's father's funeral cake. They understand family events. This isn't a funeral. They're experienced with Sullivan family occasions. They understand our standards. I chose my own bakery, designed my own cake, made every decision without Patricia's input. She smiled when I told her, "Of course, you know best. I'm sure it'll be lovely, even if it's not what our family would traditionally choose." Our family. She kept saying it, reminding me I wasn't part of our family, that I was an outsider marrying in, that I'd never truly belong. 3 months before the wedding, Patricia started making strange comments. "I hope you and Jake make it. First marriages are so fragile. Have you discussed prenups? Divorce rates are high in medical families. Jake's father and I almost didn't make it past year 1. The adjustment is difficult," I told Jake. "Your mother keeps talking about divorce. We're not even married yet." "She's just being pessimistic. Ignore her. She's planting seeds, suggesting we'll fail. That's not pessimism. That's sabotage. Nat, she's protective. She doesn't want me to get hurt." "By marrying me? That's what you're saying? She thinks I'll hurt you?" "That's not what I meant." "It's exactly what you meant. Your mother thinks I'm wrong for you, that we'll divorce. And instead of shutting that down, you're making excuses for her." We fought. Made up. But the pattern continued. Patricia planting doubt, Jake defending her, me feeling increasingly alone. 2 weeks before the wedding, Patricia invited me to lunch. Just us, woman to woman. I should have said no. Brought witnesses, recorded the conversation. I didn't. We met at a restaurant in downtown Austin. Patricia ordered for both of us, didn't ask what I wanted, just decided. "Natalie, I want to be honest with you." "Please do." "I don't think you're right for Jake." Direct. Finally. After 2 years of subtle undermining. "I'm sorry you feel that way." "It's not about feelings. It's about compatibility. You and Jake come from different worlds, different medical philosophies, different values. We're both in healthcare. You're in research. He's in patient care. You work with cells, he works with people. You think theoretically, he thinks practically. Those differences will create friction. We've been together 2 years. We know our differences, we work with them. For now, in the honeymoon phase. What about 10 years from now? 20? When those differences become resentments? That's a risk in any marriage. It's a certainty in this one. You'll hold Jake back, keep him from reaching his full potential, because you'll never understand the kind of medicine he practices. The immediate human impact. Is that what you think? That I'm holding him back? I think he deserves someone who shares his world, who understands patient care, who can support him properly. You're not that person. Does Jake know you're saying this? Jake is blinded by infatuation. He'll realize eventually. The question is whether you'll save both of you the pain of divorce by ending this now. I'm not ending anything. Then you'll learn the hard way. Marriage to a Sullivan isn't what you think. We have standards, expectations. You won't meet them. She left cash on the table, walked out, left me sitting there, processing. That night, I told Jake everything. His response was predictable. "She's just nervous. Mothers get emotional before weddings." She told me to end our engagement. "She doesn't mean it. Jake, she meant every word. Your mother has spent 2 years trying to convince me I'm not good enough. Now she's escalating." "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to set boundaries. Tell her that her behavior is unacceptable, that she needs to respect our relationship or she's not welcome in our lives. She's my mother, and I'm supposed to be your wife, soon, in 2 weeks, and your mother just told me I'll never belong, that I'm wrong for you, that we'll divorce. Do you agree with her?" "Of course not." "Then act like it, because right now, you're defending her. Again, like always, and I'm done being the one who has to tolerate it." Jake promised to talk to her, to set boundaries, to make it clear that her behavior needed to stop. I don't know if he ever did. But Patricia didn't contact me again, didn't call, didn't text. Radio silence. I thought maybe she'd backed off, accepted the wedding, moved on. I was wrong. The morning of the wedding, I was getting ready at the venue. Hair, makeup, bridesmaids around me, champagne, laughter, excitement. My phone rang. The bakery. Miss Anderson? This is Sweet Celebrations. We need to confirm the cake delivery. You delivered this morning, right? We delivered a replacement cake, but we're confused about the original order. Mrs. Sullivan called at 6 a.m. saying the first cake had been contaminated. We rushed to make a replacement based on her specifications, but we never saw the original cake. Can you confirm it was actually contaminated? My stomach dropped. What do you mean contaminated? Mrs. Sullivan said it had been exposed to cleaning chemicals, that it was unsafe. We have protocols for contamination. We should have been notified immediately, not 6 hours later. I never authorized a replacement. What did the new cake look like? She described it. The divorce cake, the lawyer information, the message. Mrs. Sullivan said it was an inside joke. It's not a joke. Where's my original cake? Mrs. Sullivan had it removed, said it needed to be disposed of properly due to contamination. I hung up, called the venue coordinator. Where's my wedding cake? The original one? Your mother-in-law had it removed this morning, said there was a problem. Where did it go? I'm not sure. She handled it personally. I found the venue manager, demanded to see security footage. That's when I saw it. Patricia, alone, pouring liquid on my cake, smiling, then orchestrating the replacement. I had the manager isolate the footage, zoom in on the bottle. The label was partially visible. Ipecac syrup. I recognized it from my pharmaceutical background, used to induce vomiting, toxic in large doses. Patricia hadn't just sabotaged the cake, she'd poisoned it. If 200 people had eaten it, they'd have been violently ill. Some could have been hospitalized, especially elderly guests, children, anyone with health vulnerabilities. This wasn't petty sabotage, this was criminal. I called Jake, showed him the footage, watched his face as he processed what his mother had done. We need to find the original cake, I said. If she poisoned it, we need evidence, for the police. The venue manager spoke up. Your mother-in-law didn't dispose of it. We found it in the kitchen, in the walk-in refrigerator. She must have hidden it there. Show me. We went to the kitchen, the walk-in refrigerator, and there it was. My beautiful wedding cake, still intact, liquid dripping down the tiers, the top already starting to discolor where the ipecac had soaked in. I put on gloves, carefully transferred a sample of the contaminated frosting to a container. I'm taking this to a lab. I need it tested. I need documentation of exactly what she used. Jake stared at the ruined cake. Why would she do this? Because she told me 2 weeks ago that we'd divorce, that I wasn't right for you, that I'd never meet Sullivan family standards. She couldn't stop the wedding, so she tried to destroy it, make everyone sick, create chaos, prove I was wrong for choosing my own bakery, my own designs, my own anything. This is insane. This is your mother. This is who she is when she doesn't get her way. I looked at the divorce cake in the reception hall, at the security footage of Patricia poisoning the original, at Jake's face, at my dress, at the 200 guests waiting. We have 2 choices, I said. We cancel the wedding, call the police, deal with this now, or we get married, show everyone what she did, and then call the police. What do you want to do? I thought about Patricia, about 2 years of undermining, dismissing, suggesting I wasn't good enough, trying to convince Jake we'd fail, and now this. Poisoning food, endangering guests, committing a crime. I want to get married. I want to show that footage to every single guest. I want everyone to know exactly what your mother did, and then I want to press charges. Are you sure? Your mother tried to poison our wedding cake to stop this marriage. She doesn't get to win. She doesn't get to destroy this day. We're getting married, and then we're making sure she faces consequences. Jake nodded. Then let's get married. The ceremony was beautiful. I walked down the aisle. Jake cried when he saw me. We said our vows, kissed, everyone cheered. Patricia was in the 3rd row, smiling, playing the proud mother, completely unaware that I knew what she'd done. The reception started. Dinner was served. Music played. Speeches began. My father gave a sweet toast. Jake's best man told embarrassing college stories. My maid of honor made everyone laugh. Then Jake stood, took the microphone. I have something important to share. Before we cut the cake, because there's a story behind today's cake. The room quieted. Everyone looked at the divorce cake, confused. That's not the cake Natalie and I ordered. That cake was delivered this morning by someone who thought they were helping, but they were misled. He gestured to the venue coordinator. She wheeled in a monitor, large, visible to everyone. This is security footage from this morning, 6 a.m. I want everyone to see what happened. The footage played. Patricia entering the reception hall, approaching the original cake, pouring liquid, smiling. The timestamp. The zoom on the bottle. Ipecac syrup. The room was silent. Absolutely silent. Then Patricia's voice. Turn that off. This is ridiculous. This is evidence, I said, standing, of attempted poisoning. That's ipecac syrup, a toxin that induces vomiting. Your mother poured it on our wedding cake, the cake that 200 people were supposed to eat, including children, including elderly guests, including anyone who could have been seriously harmed. Patricia stood. That's not what happened. Then explain the footage. Explain the bottle. Explain why you called the bakery claiming the cake was contaminated. Explain the replacement cake with divorce lawyer information on it. She had no explanation, just stared. Jake continued. My mother has spent 2 years trying to break us up, suggesting Natalie wasn't good enough, wasn't right for me, that we'd divorce. When undermining didn't work, she escalated. She poisoned our wedding cake, then replaced it with a cake telling me to divorce my wife. He looked at his mother. You're no longer welcome in our lives. Leave, now. Jake, I'm your mother. You poisoned food intended for 200 people. You committed a crime to stop my wedding. You don't get to be my mother anymore. Get out. Patricia looked around, at 200 faces staring at her, at the footage still playing on the screen, at the evidence of what she'd done. She grabbed her purse, walked toward the exit. Fast. I called after her. The police are already on their way. The original cake has been preserved as evidence. Samples have been sent for lab analysis. You're not getting away with this. She didn't turn around, just left. The room erupted. Guests talking, shocked, angry, some crying. My father approached. Did she really poison the cake? Yes. We have the original in evidence storage. It's being tested. But I recognize the ipecac bottle in the footage. I work with pharmaceuticals. I know what it is, what it does. Will you press charges? Absolutely. She endangered everyone here. That's not something you forgive. The police arrived 20 minutes later. I showed them the footage, the contaminated cake, the replacement, the lab samples I'd already collected. They took statements, photographs, evidence, told us they'd be filing charges, attempted poisoning, food tampering, possibly attempted assault. Patricia didn't come back, didn't call, didn't apologize. The wedding continued. We served the divorce cake ironically, cut it, fed it to each other. Everyone laughed, dark humor, making the best of attempted sabotage. My new husband held my hand. I'm sorry, for all of it, for not seeing who she was sooner. You saw when it mattered. You chose me. That's what counts. I should have chosen you 2 years ago. The first time she disrespected you, I should have set boundaries then. You did it now, in front of everyone. That matters. The lab results came back 3 days later. The cake had been contaminated with ipecac syrup, enough to make everyone who ate it violently ill, enough to hospitalize some, enough to potentially kill vulnerable guests if they had underlying conditions. The police charged Patricia with attempted poisoning, food tampering, reckless endangerment. She hired a lawyer, tried to claim it was a misunderstanding, that she was trying to protect people from a contaminated cake. But the footage showed her pouring the ipecac, showed her smiling, showed her replacing the cake with one insulting me. No judge believed it was protection. The case went to trial. Patricia pleaded guilty to reduced charges, food tampering, reckless endangerment. She got 2 years probation, community service, a permanent record. She also got a restraining order. Jake filed for it. She couldn't contact us, couldn't come within 500 feet of our home, couldn't attend family events we attended. She was effectively cut off from her son, from me, from any future grandchildren. Some people thought we were too harsh. She's his mother. Family forgives. But what she did wasn't forgivable. She tried to poison 200 people, to stop a wedding, to prove she was right that I wasn't good enough. That's not protective motherly concern. That's criminal behavior. Jake's in therapy, working through the reality of who his mother is, learning that loving someone doesn't mean tolerating their abuse, that boundaries aren't betrayal. I'm thriving. Promotion at work. Published 2 more papers. Building a life with Jake, without Patricia's constant undermining. People ask if we'll ever reconcile, if Patricia will ever meet future grandchildren. The answer is no. She made her choice. She chose control over relationship. She chose sabotage over acceptance. She chose crime over celebration. Those choices have consequences, permanent ones. 1 year after the wedding, we're celebrating our anniversary. Same venue, Riverside Gardens. But this time, no drama, no sabotage, just us and close friends. Someone asks about Patricia, if she's tried to reach out. She sent a letter, Jake says, through her lawyer, asking for forgiveness. What did you say? Nothing. I didn't respond. She poisoned our wedding cake. She doesn't get forgiveness. She gets consequences. Do you regret cutting her off? I regret not doing it sooner. I regret the 2 years Natalie spent being undermined, being told she wasn't good enough, being subjected to my mother's toxicity. I should have protected her from day one. I squeeze his hand. You're protecting me now. That's what matters. We cut our anniversary cake. Same design as the original wedding cake, the one that never got eaten, the one Patricia destroyed. This one is perfect, untainted, exactly what we wanted. My ML replaced my wedding cake with a divorce cake. Then I played the security footage showing she'd poisoned the original. She thought she'd stop our marriage, prove I wasn't good enough, show Jake I was wrong for him. Instead, she proved who she really was. To everyone. On camera. With evidence. She's gone now. Out of our lives. Facing consequences. Alone. And we're here. Married. Happy. Building a life free from her toxicity. She tried to poison our beginning. We turned it into a clean ending. For her role in our lives. Sometimes the worst thing someone does is actually the best thing. Because it reveals who they are. Completely. Irrefutably. And that revelation lets you walk away. Knowing you made the right choice, Patricia poisoned a wedding cake, lost her son, and proved that some people's love is so toxic, the best gift they can give you is showing you who they are, so you can cut them out, permanently, without guilt. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support truly means the world to me, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I love reading every single one of them. Each comment inspires me to keep creating stories for you. See you next time.